Hello class and welcome to week 6. It's hard to believe that we're already in week 6. This week's course outcomes are plans critical practice activities that integrate professional nursing standards in accordance with the Nursing Code of Ethics and American Nurses Association Standards of Practice. We have 2 threaded discussions like normal, and here we have the IMM website, which is a great website to use. And in this, I want you to make sure you discuss the framework of the website and why that is important. How is this set up? Is it for-profit, non-for-profit? Why is that important? How can it be applied to nursing and your work setting? Workplace safety. Man, is this not a hot topic nowadays? So in this, I want you to look at the ANA website on workplace safety. Select a publication, and I want you to discuss the publication. Give a good summary of it, include the URL so students who are interested in that can go back. And how does that apply to your work setting? Again, I want a pretty good summary of the publication as well as how it applies to your work setting. Now for our lessons this week, we'll not go to that. We'll actually go to our assignments this week. So this is the final milestone. Gosh, it's hard to believe you're already there, isn't it? So what I want you to do is open up your second milestone. And I have a pretend one here that we're going to look at just as this is a sample. So say this is the sample that I gave back to you that has the comments in. I want you to make all of your changes on this. So when you submit this back to me, you are going to save as milestone 4, and you're going to submit this back to me. And my comments are still going to be intact. This helps me to know that you've made the changes that were addressed in the first topic, or in the second milestone. So let me open this back up for you. So you can see a couple different things. Depending on your settings, you might have these little bubbles that are my comments, where you can click on them and it gives. So for instance, in this one, there's no heading on page 1, so I wrote a little comment. There should be a heading on page 1 that is different from all the other pages. You would go in and then add your heading. You also could go up here to your toolbar and show comments, and then it will show like this. So it might show in either one of the ways, depending on what your settings are, but either way, my comments will be here on the side. Now, sometimes when you make the corrections, for instance, if you put Chamberlain College of Nursing, and I said delete the duplicate, and you went in there and you said, oh gosh, I didn't mean to do that in backplace, you notice my comment went away. That's okay because you corrected the issue in which I was trying to address. Sorry about my barking dogs. So sometimes what will happen is that we'll delete. If that happens, that's okay. You might delete 2 or 3, 1 or 2 comments, but all the rest of my comments should be intact. Obviously, when you add a header, so if we were going to go in here and we're going to insert the header, goodness, couldn't find where it was. If I'm going to do that, then, and I'm going to go through and insert my header, my comments are still there despite the fact that we inserted the header. Again, we want to go through and just go through your entire paper, make the corrections or comments based on the feedback I gave you. Now, the most important part of this assignment, well, half of the most important part is that you add the new sections. This is the milestone number 4 outline, which you can find in Doc Sharing under Capstone Milestone 4. If you look right here, here's your outline. Here is also your grading grid, and your guidelines will also have your grading grid in there. So when you go to milestone number 4, you will notice that there are 3 new sections. These new sections are worth 120 points. If you do not add the 3 new sections, you automatically lose 120 points on this. I can't say this enough. There will be a handful of students that will turn in their paper, they'll make the corrections, they'll have a beautiful paper, and they'll miss 120 points because they didn't add these 3 new sections. So please don't forget this. So the first of the 3 new sections is contribution to the future of healthcare. Just give me a paragraph or 2 and tell me why this project contributes to the future of healthcare. Not just for your institution, but as a whole. If you're looking at something that's going to reduce infection rates, talk about that it can then help other facilities and how that can be implemented. If you're talking about implementing a home health care policy, that model can be taken for other diseases, maybe not just CHF, but maybe asthma or whatever the case might be. But make sure there's 2 paragraphs on this. you'll see that this part right here is your change, your 6-step change model. That's all the same. Again, you will need to go back in and make changes based on the information I gave you. And then these are the other two sections, implementation and evaluation plan. So in this section, these are very similar to steps 5 and 6, but you should go into a little bit more depth. Now, if you went into great depth on 5 and 6, a lot of this will feel like very duplicate. But if in my comments I said to you go into more depth, then this is the place where you can go into greater depth. Clearly identify the steps that you'll take for implementation and the steps for evaluation. It should be completely clear on exactly what you would do. If you did not then pass it on to another nurse. The other nurse should be able to duplicate exactly what you were planning on doing. So remember, this section alone is worth 30 points, so great detail is expected. Steps to maintain the change. How in the world are you going to make sure that this is changed? Are you going to change policy? Or are you going to put it in the nurse's evaluations to check off? Is it going to be part of the assessments that are done, or the course audits, or the chart audits? How are you going to make sure that this isn't just a pilot study that said, oh, that was a great idea, and then we're never going to do anything else? Again, your conclusion, you might add a couple other things. Sorry about my barking dogs. And then, of course, your reference page should be exactly how it is. If you add any more references, make sure that you put those in there as well. So, again, this is a busy week. This is a busy assignment. If you did well on your first milestone, you will not have as much work. If you had a lot of feedback on your second milestone, then you'll have a little bit more work this week. Again, make sure you can still utilize Smart Thinking, which if you go up here, it's under Tutor Source. You need to give it a little bit of time. Generally, students are telling me that it takes about 24 to 48 hours to get feedback. Again, you can't count on that. I think they have up to 5 days to get feedback, but most of the students say that it's much sooner. So, get it done early this week, submit it to Smart Thinking for feedback, and that will also help you. If you have any questions at all, I am here for you. Just don't hesitate to ask. I will be traveling to Chicago for work this week. I will be leaving tomorrow evening, so I might be just a little bit slower in my email because I will be in meetings all day on Wednesday and then half the day on Thursday, and I will be traveling Tuesday night and Thursday night. But I will respond, within about 12 hours. And if it's been longer than that, please shoot me another email just to make sure it didn't get buried or something. I hope everybody has a fabulous week. And let me know if you need anything. All right, guys, take care and have a wonderful week.